Fold.
Okay, I'm opening this hand. It can't be too big of a mistake.
Raise to 25.
Okay, so we got open versus tight, Berkey behind. I think I'm just going to call this time because I've been raising with these kind of hands.
Call.
Very friendly. Very friendly. Raise to 150 bucks. Enjoy the 50 bucks.
Going to be checking range.
Check. Check.
Okay. Berkey's got all the deuces. He knows that. I'm gonna go ahead and check this. I could 3-barrel this. Maybe I should just 3-barrel it. Nah, just check it.
Check.
Okay. Against two people. Probably supposed to check, but it's strange. Shed some of the weight, so we're gonna go 30.
The bet's 30.
Okay. Pre-flop he called pretty quickly. I'm pretty sure he hit this queen. I have all of the bigger queens. All I really have here is a naked flush draw. I mean, I guess I could say that I have all the twos with my 4-3, 3-deuce, 4-deuce. I'm just gonna flat though. I'm not totally dialed into this guy.
Okay. So the board runs out pair. Board the queen. I have some hands that I want to try and get value from, such as ace highs. I don't need to go big on this board. I'm going to be losing to a lot of his overpairs that he has that are bigger than my sixes, but I want to try and get something out of it. So we're going to go 75 into this pot.
Bet 75.
Okay. I saw he's been calling super thin. He's a bit of a station. So I'm not gonna try and bluff him on this because I think he's calling with a 10 or any pair actually. I have most of the queens. I don't think he's doing this without a queen. I don't know. Maybe he is. I'm just gonna go ahead and let this go. Look for a better spot.
Raise to 25.
This is definitely a 3-bet candidate here. I think that if I flat this, it will give Berkey an opportunity to squeeze, and I really don't want to play this out of position in a 4-bet pot. So I'm gonna 3-bet fold this.
Raise to 85.
I'm just gonna fold actually.
Raise.
Raise to 25.
All right, I think 3-betting this and folding is pretty stupid. 3-bet getting it is a little ambitious, so this is a hand we're gonna call on the button. Try and
Call.
build a set.
Three players. Check.
Okay, so we make a really loose open under the gun, but the game's playing pretty loose, so it's not terrible. We flop open-ended, but it's a board where a fair amount of Sprague's range is going to connect with, so we're going to want to be checking a really big percentage of our range here. We can do some betting, like we make some really good hands. A lot of our range is wrapped around Jack and the 9, and like suited hands with overcards and stuff like that. And Sprague's going to have lots of pairs, but I'm going to bet this 25% and check the rest.
Check.
So I think in general this is a pretty good board for me. Flatting some Jack X broadways, making some straight draws, flush draws. You know, I'm going to have hands like King, Queen, Queen 10 that have pretty good equity here. I think Ewan's going to play quite a heavy check, knowing that this is a board that my button flat does quite well on. That does mean that he also retains a lot of strong hands. You know, aces, kings, queens, going for check raise sometimes, Jack X going for check raise sometimes, and then maybe even decides to check call check raise, you know, around King, Queen, Queen 10 himself. My hand's kind of interesting. I think multi-way there's a lot more to be said for denial. If we can get, you know, Parker to fold, I don't know, something like ace 8, that's not the end of the world. So I think there's going to be a little bit more betting by the imposition player, me. So I will do some betting.
The bet's 40.
I don't think I want a 3-bet pre with my hand, really. Maybe like very low mix if so, and I'm just gonna fold now pretty happily.
Okay, so Sprague uses half pot, which is about as big as he probably wants to go on this board, but it seems like a good size. I think our hand is going to be a pretty clear call. We can raise sometimes for a club, but I think when we start raising with our straight draws without a club blocker, it becomes, I think we're just being a bit too aggressive, so I'm just always going to call this and we're going to play some turns. Okay, the 4 of clubs is fairly good for our range. We're going to have probably slightly more flush draws that cool the flop than Sprague's betting, but I don't think we get to do any donking here, so I'm just going to check.
Check.
I think it's quite natural for Ewan to check the turn. I don't think he has, you know, a larger amount of flushes than I do. Interesting that he check calls. I actually don't like my sizing on the flop. I think I should size up a little bit bigger since, you know, I'm going to be value betting Jack X for the most part, and it's quite a board with a lot of threats to the nuts. Again, we kind of have a weird hand here that is still going to be good sometimes. You know, Ewan's range is narrowed on the flop, so most of his calls are going to have pretty decent equity against me. With a club, I might just check back because I don't really want to have to bet fold. My hand's still worth quite a bit, so we'll take a check. Okay, so we face a check back.
I think this range is naturally going to be really showdown driven. So, I mean, bluffing this spot intuitively feels really terrible. I think there's going to be a fair amount of Jack X in the calling range pre-flop. But there's also going to be some King Queen and hands like that. So I think checking our hand would be too much of a disaster. Having 10 of spades isn't great because we don't block a Jack 10 suited combo. If we had like Queen 10 with hearts and diamonds, it would be much better to bluff the river with. But seeing as this is pretty close to the bottom, we're going to have 8-7 suited as like our only worst hand here ever. I think we do want to bluff this, and in this spot I think I'm going to have two different sizes of... I'm not sure actually if we are going to have two different sizes, because I don't think there's many hands that we can bet small that we can't really bet big. So I'm going to play this river as just like a one size and pretty much value bet a Jack or better. So I'm going to use a 75% pot size. I raised a 25 pre, so that would be 80 in the pre-flop, and then Spraggy bet 40 on the flop, so that's 160 in the pot. And then I think this hand just has to bluff always, but I'm really not thrilled about it, so I'm going to bet 160.
The bet's 160.
So again, we're in a little bit of a rough spot with our hand in that it's sort of one of our lower down catches. I don't think at this step that I really have many flushes or boats. I think those hands are going to start trying to play for stacks on the turn, so I don't think I really have a raising range here. Ewan is going to retain some jacks. He'll check all the flop with hands like Jack 10, Queen Jack probably sometimes, maybe even a little higher up. Given the flush field on the turn, not all of my jacks are going to want to try and go for 3 streets, so I myself have some jacks. I think the paired jack quite interesting. It really opens Ewan up to be able to value bet hands like 10s, strong 9s. If he has a hand like ace 9, king 9, queen 9, I think he can try and value bet it against some of my catches, and I think he, is certainly going to be doing that. Definitely think he pitches me as a bit of a station. I don't want my image to play too much into the call. His bluffs are probably going to come from the 10-8s suited, queen 10 suited if he chose to check all those, the king queen if he chose to check all those. So I almost, given he can value bet a 9, obviously like having a 9 is pretty good. We block the value. I do like the fact that I don't have like a 10, I think specifically. It's just like a super tilt spot. He may, he's going to have hands like maybe some backdoor spades, but I don't think he bluffs ace 10. I don't think he bluffs ace queen, ace king of spades. Don't think he needs to. He might even play those as a check call, so. Try and stare at him, see if I can get a read. No reads. Am I just going to pay somebody off again here, huh? Sure. The station wins again. Station wins again. For the first time, maybe.
Okay. Pretty sure this is an open. 7-handed. And if it's not, it can't be too big of a mistake. So I'm just going to open the standard right now.
Raise to 25.
Oh, man. Happy to get that out. I thought I was mostly going to play 3-bet, but I think that from this position I can have calls, especially when I have, I don't know if I would call this a trappy hand, but this is like upper middle of my stronger hands. Anyway, I think this hand plays better in position as a call, and it can defend versus a squeeze, so.
Call. Raise 180's the bet.
Okay. I guess that's why you don't really do this with this hand. I could invite Berkey in on this and play this multi-way. I like it better in a multi-way pot. No, and no, okay.
What, 80?
180. Yes,
180.
180.
Okay, this is quite large, but we're also quite deep. My hand doesn't do anything other than call, so we're just going to make the easy play.
Start off with a cough. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna bet pre-flop. Not too much to talk about. Gonna use a big size here. Go for 2/3. I mean, we're definitely gonna 3-bet some ace 9, ace 5, pocket nines, aces, obviously. So we have the lion's share of the good hands.
The bet's 240.
Okay. I don't particularly know what this sizing is. Tonka should be range betting here, I imagine, pretty much always. I'm very pocket pair dense, of course, so I'm gonna have like sets and nothing that he doesn't really care if I attempt to peel. I'll also have some backdoor hands. Yeah, we're relatively deep, but there's 400 in the pot, so he's betting like 60% here. It just kind of forces me to have an ace. So like he's just trying to kind of win the cooler war if he has ace king, or suppose ace queen. His bluffs aren't really gonna function through this sizing. Like we should see a fair amount of king, queen, queen, jack, those types of hands. But this all stems back to the large size pre. It's really difficult to kind of pin down the construction. I don't really know what to make of this. I can't imagine that I'm making it overfold here. I would just be better served to have 10-9 than pocket tens. So I think that this hand probably pretty comfortably folds. I could see him showing up with a hand like 7-8 or 6-7 here. That would make a hell of a lot of sense that he's trying to just marry those to like ace king, ace queen. In any event, he's gonna get this one. Misclick? Misclick?
Where? When?
Pre-flop, on the flop, one or the other.
Never.
In those live sizing streets, I understand.
How big was it pre-flop?
180.
It's big.
I like to raise a lot of it.
Yeah.
Hit me with the B66 on the flop.
Big bet Tonka.
Yeah.
Raise to 25. Re-raise to 85.
Kind of catching a pattern here with Tonka on my left. He is over-aggressing, almost criminally. And it's not just, he's not just over-aggressing to me, he's over-aggressing towards the entire table. So we will probably adjust our pre-flop starting ranges a little bit so that we don't have these hands where we open and just pretty much auto-fold. Because that's what we're doing here.
Raise to 25.
I don't think I really want to do too much fighting here, so I have a playable hand. I am going to 3-bet Mr. Berkey.
Raise to 75.
Okay. My initial thought is, well, under the gun, I'm going to go ahead and fold this because it just is not going to play well if Berkey 4-bets.
This fucking guy again? My hand. Yeah, I think we just play pure call here.
Check.
So I don't think Berkey likes folding pre-flop, especially not on his own show. This board where I'm doing pretty well. You know, my value range connects with the ace king, ace queen. Might even 3-bet some ace jack, ace 10, pocket tens. I do have the gut shot, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and continue on the flop.
That's 125.
Getting wrecked by these larger sizes. That's actually for the best. My hand would pretty much want to fold to any size. If we got the quarter pot sizing, I think I could have justified a POL just to, you know, try to drill it, maybe make a play later. But facing 3/4 pot, I think we have a pretty clear laydown.
Good.
I mean, this isn't an open, so I'm not going to open.
Definitely a raise.
Raise to 25. Check.
With our backdoor hearts, we are going to stab at this because this is our board anyways. I'm probably just going to 3-barrel this. Yeah. So there's 50 in there. I'll go ahead and bet 25.
That's 25.
Ace-5 off here is definitely a raise. If I get 3-bet, I'll definitely consider 4-betting this hand. I'm just going to open to the standard right now.
Raise to 25.
I don't imagine we're playing many flats out the small blind. I've got a reasonable hand. I think this is going to prefer to 3-bet, so I think it's 25.
25.
25 is the bet. We are going to make it 110.
Re-raise to 110.
Okay. So, we are definitely going to 4-bet this hand. Trying to think of the right size. This is let's go ahead and bet 400.
Re-raise to 400.
It's pretty big sizing in position. It's like, you know, nearly 4x my bet. Certainly a very active player. I think 5-bet Tonka earlier. Also 3-bets, 4-bets. There is definitely a temptation by me to not fold. I don't think I really want to call out a position with the offsuit hand though, so we're about $2,000 deep, so I'm no mathematician, but at 510 that feels like 200 big blinds. We're looking at a 40 big blind 4-bet. Or fold are our options. I'm all in.
All in.
Let me think about this for a second. I think I probably 110 probably could have 4-bet a little bit smaller there, and saved. I think probably 325 would have been a better size, I think. But at this point, I'm definitely folding.
Raise to 25. Check.
All right, this is a texture where we're gonna play big bet, small bet, and check. Our hand doesn't really need any protection. It has no backdoor properties outside of backdoor straight draw, which is relatively weak. But we do have a lot of showdown value, especially against a very wide range. And we are going to be able to at least withstand one street of betting unimproved. So this is gonna naturally fall into our check back region. I think a hand like King 10, King Jack would be a lot more necessary to small bet. So we're gonna check back.
So we peeled pre-flop against Berkey. I don't know. Maybe it could be a fold and cash game with no antes. Probably fine with the. Yeah, it's probably fine. I think it's hard to check, I guess. I guess I'm gonna bet a third actually, just because it's hard to check and continue in the hand.
The bet's 20.
All right, Tonka elects to go for just about third pot here. Pretty good sizing. I believe he actually has some big bets here as well, should he choose them. Can't really read too much into this. He's as uncapped as 10-6, 5-6, maybe even some Jack 10 in this sizing for sure. Can fit 2 pair or better as well. I think we have a pretty natural call with overcards and a gut shot. We're basically just folding unimproved, and should we improve to a pair plus, depending upon the size, we'll be bluff catching at some frequency.
Yeah, I think it's pretty reasonable to bet like any 9, 8, 7, 27 with backup on the turn for the third like we did. We can even, I guess, I don't really know if we'd want to bet a straight like that to like induce raises and stuff. Like I'm sure Berkey will have them, but we probably just want to start piling money in with a bunch of our good hands. Yeah, I'm just gonna bet small again, I guess, and just lose a lot because Berkey's just always gonna look me up, but that's okay. I think it's fine to do this with any pair we end up with.
That's 35.
Okay, pretty good size. I think that he's basically playing big bet and block here. Probably no real checking takes place on this particular card. He bets 35 into 95, slightly over a block sizing. Smaller seems to make a little bit more sense, but nevertheless, I don't think our hand really functions as anything. We do unblock hearts, but the board's so connected that you know, basically we're just trying to pick off a hand like Queen 10, which probably would be incentivized to go a little bit bigger either on the turn or river. That said, we'll just block it.
I had at least a 4.
What's that?
I had at least a 4.
Was that a pair?
No.
Oh, that doesn't help me any.
Raise to 25. Re-raise to 85.
Okay, so I opened this hand, which I'll probably open, I don't know, a little bit more than half the time from this spot. Fully aware that Tonka might be 3-betting a lot here. I am fine with just calling. Let's hope to see a good flop and continue from there. Is it?
It's 85. Check.
Getting after it with the 3-bet here, but pretty clean 1/3 or quarter bet, whatever your small size is.
90's the bet.
There we go. Okay, so default check here on this flop out of position. Flopping an ace is obviously a good thing. He comes with about a half-size pot bet. Okay. I was expecting him to come a little bit smaller than this, but we are doing nothing with our current hand. We call. Turn 9 of clubs. We do have the ace of clubs, which might factor in a little bit. Blocking, obviously, his nut flush, picking up a nut flush draw on the turn. Our 8 works well with the jack, the 6, and the 9, blocking all kinds of stuff in there. Again, out of position with him still with the betting lead, we check again.
Check.
Yeah, so I was going to shut down a lot of turns, and this is definitely not one of them. Picking up pretty interesting equity for sure. I mean, just a really good spot to continue barreling. Maybe go, I guess, go Geo for the stacks. Just bet around pot. Yeah.
The bet's 475.
With a lot of draws starting to realize on this turn, I am not surprised at his much larger polarizing turn size bet here. Again, with me being the mindset that he is sort of being over aggressive in a lot of spots, we're going to continue calling, especially with the ace, in that ace being a club in our hand. So we're going to call. We're going to see what he does on a ton of rivers, but I don't know, we'll decide when we get to the river, depending on his sizing, what we do. River pairing the 9 is actually pretty good. I mean, a lot of things missed here. The hearts came in, which is a little bit troublesome. Having a heart in our hand is therefore a very good thing. We're going to check. We're going to call probably reasonably sized bets and hope to pick off some bluffs here.
Check.
So, not our river, but the 5 of clubs is quite good, I would say, or at least inconsequential. Queen of clubs feels quite bad. Yeah, seems reasonable to give up this hand or not empty it all the time, but I'm gonna empty it.
Okay, as expected, we don't love this spot, but with this particular hand blocking both clubs and hearts, feel like we don't have any other option but to call. And I'm not confident that I'm going to be winning this a ton of time, but we're here. Let's just do the thing.
Call. He's got 9s. She's got 2 pair aces up. Aces up.
12.25.
Nice hand.